sex to us is not just about sex. Hey, this is mazindomazindo welcoming you to Candid Conversations with mazindomazindo. This is the place where we speak openly about various critical issues around marriage, mental health, sexuality, divorce, mindset, and many, many more. And then in this channel, I'm going to talk to you openly again from my personal experience and from my professional experience as registered counselor, mental health practitioner, and marriage therapist. So recently I was featured in a TV program called After the Vows on SABC 2, a national TV station. So there I was sharing my experience about the time when I struggled with low sex drive and weak erection because of antidepressants.
Today's episode is going to be hot and steamy.
I'm the freak.
And I remember saying to myself, Voga, when I wake up.
There is nothing more sexy to a man in a marriage or to a husband than a wife that wants him.
Yes. Sex is nice.
Oh,
Sex.
Coach KB! After the Vows, every Sunday night at 7:30 on SABC 2.
So we had a good time in the show. And then the presenter asked me a specific question. He said to me, how does low sex drive and weak erection affect a man's confidence? So I was so ready to answer that question, but then I didn't get the chance to answer the question. But the ladies who were part of the show as my co-guests, they did attempt to answer the question and they answered it very brilliantly. But I felt, you know what, these are brilliant answers, but then they need to be more representative of a man's experience, because sexuality to a man is different from sexuality to a woman. So I mean, sexuality to a man is very critical for his ego, because our ego is tied so closely around our sexuality. So if we cannot perform sexually, it affects many other aspects of our lives. So sex to us is not just about sex. It's about confidence. It's about how we show up in the public. It's about how we show up in the boardroom. It's about how we show up in business, in our work, in our relationship with other people, and every other thing that we do. Even to our friends, it affects how we show up, because it is also linked to our sense of identity. We find ourselves in our sexuality. We define ourselves based on our sexuality. So during those times when I was struggling with low sex drive and weak erection, I actually, everything about me was going low. I felt like I was going on a downward spiral. I felt like, you know what, even though I'm taking antidepressants and these antidepressants are helping me up here, but they're actually hurting me down there. And whilst they hurt me down there, they sort of come back and hurt me back up here as well. So it was a terrible experience. It was not about me not able to please my wife the way I wanted to. It was about me not being able to do my best and to give my best and to be productive, because sex to a man represents productivity. So if you can be productive in the area of sex, that says to you, you can be productive in any other area as well. So sex, when it is not happening in a man's life, it's more than a bedroom thing. So a woman, yes, as they have explained, that, you know what, they also go through times where they have low sex drive, and then they cannot be prepared physically to have sex sometimes, but it's never an issue to them. But to us, it's not the same. When you have problems with your sexuality. It means you are having problems with your masculinity. And once you have problems with your masculinity, it means you have problems with your sense of identity, how you define yourself, your ego as a man, and you tend to become timid and pull back a little bit. You don't give the best of yourself, in not only in your relationship but in life in general. You don't feel like you can be a good father or a good manager or a good leader or a good community member or even a good driver. So sexuality is that important. It affects most of what we do. So it is very much important, even as women, if your husband or the man in your life is struggling with issues around sexuality, especially low sex drive and weak erection or early ejaculation, whatever it is that is linked to that experience, you need to understand that it's not only a sexual problem to him, it's a personality problem, it's a psychological problem, it's a masculinity problem, it's actually an identity problem. So that's the long and the short of it. This is just what I wanted to do. I wanted to respond directly to that question. And what you can do about that, you can do what I did. I would suggest that you do what I did, because when I went through depression, I went to my psychiatrist, spoke to my psychiatrist about my situation. He prescribed the medication. The medication made me feel so much better psychologically, but it actually harmed me a lot sexually, to an extent that it lowered my sexual drive. So I didn't want to go back to the psychiatrist. I did speak to the psychiatrist about it, and then I realized, you know what, the psychiatrist is the specialist in mental health. I think I need another specialist. That's where I went to a male specialist and spoke to him about my sexual needs. And then he made his own checkups and observations and diagnosis, and he gave me some treatment, which took about 3 weeks. And then after that, I was back on my feet again, and I was back on the saddle, and I felt myself again. And guess what? As soon as I came back sexually, I came back generally. I showed up in every other sphere of my life like I've never showed up before. So that is how important our sexuality is to us, and that is how badly it can affect us when we are having problems, any form of a problem that is linked to our sexuality, because it affects our masculinity. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for being with me now. Please remember to subscribe, like, comment. Let's engage and connect with me on my other social media platforms. You can see them in the description box. And then until we meet again, keep well and take care.